So this is the roots too. They're really shallow roots.
Yeah. So Emily Peck.
Oh, we're videoing.
No, I am.
Oh.
You're the talent. Talk to Jonas.
Yes. Hello, Jonas. Nice to meet you.
I just gave her the last piece of your hemp paper, and we're talking about fiber and how it would fit into the Jonas and Jerry schema of things.
Yeah, so this is the flax. It's almost ready to pull because it's gotten like yellow on the bottom half. So that's kind of the indicator. It's also like started to finish flowering. These are the little blue flowers that only last about a day. You can kind of see them. Here's one that's open. So it would be too early for seed production, but this is around the fiber production. You just literally pull it out of the ground like this. It has really shallow roots, which is kind of amazing. And then if we wanted to red it, we would just lay it right on the field, or Jerry and I were talking about drying it first to get more controlled redding. And yeah, this is it.
This is your third year.
This is my third year growing flax. This is about 1/10 of an acre, so we'll see how much we get off of this, but it was a really productive crop. The seed was great. This is good height comparatively to what I've grown before, and really good seed germination. No irrigation.
Oh, dry farming.
Yep, no irrigation.
Lucky you.
So yes, very lucky. I don't know how many years that's gonna last, but yeah, luckily we got enough water in the spring to germinate it, and once it gets germinated, it does pretty well.
Even with shallow roots.
Yeah. I've never had to irrigate it before, and I'm able to get it densely enough planted so that it outcompetes the weeds. So you
Right.
can see that there's grass growing in between it, but it obviously was able to grow just fine in order to get to full length. I also didn't till it, so no tilling.
Yay!
So,
And how are you feeding it in terms of NPK?
we put down some Revita or Pro, which is it's a branded thing, but it's a pelletized chicken.
Oh, right,
Just
right.
a very small dusting of it. But honestly, other than that, we tried a inoculation of like Korean natural farming.
KNF.
Yeah, and that was it. And and a little bit of compost. So just kind of a mixture, but I didn't do like a full analysis before or after.
Mhm.
So it would be nice to see after what it looks like. But I just tarped these in the spring for about 2 months and like oculated them, and then just took the tarps off, broadcast seeded 10 pounds of seed, and then that was it.
Good for you.
So, yeah, and here's the flax. So we'll see how it does fiber-wise, and we'll be saving about 50% or more for seed. So I'll be letting this go until it gets like completely dry and the seed pods have formed. But
And so most of what you've done is textiles as opposed to paper?
yeah. I've gone through the whole process of processing flax from fiber to I haven't actually spun it myself, but I've gotten it to the point where spinners and weavers can
Right,
do that.
right.
And so there's folks right now that are spinning it and weaving some of the stuff we did 2 years ago. So we built the like very rudimentary like materials for the breaker and
Right.
the heckle
And the
and all those
scutching and
things.
all that. Yeah.
So we did that.
Just like you're in Williamsburg, Virginia, wearing a long skirt.
Basically,
Yeah, I know.
And
It's
we're joking. Like, this is the future. This is the
I know.
future.
Right.
Yeah, so it seems silly, but I believe in it. And if we can get the right machinery to actually make the process
Mechanized. Yes.
yeah, and a little bit simpler, and be able to process faster, then I think it could be a beautiful product. I mean, even the stuff that isn't bleach, I think is gorgeous, and there's a lot of versatility in it, and when it can be blended in different ways, I think it's really nice. So so mostly just textiles, and nothing paper-wise that we've experienced directly yet, but
And what kind of harvest yield or volume do you expect out of your 1/10 of an acre?
as far as fiber.
Yeah, just the weight of the biomass.
I have to.
Yeah.
I still am trying to figure that out. I
Sure.
really don't know,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So.
Well, this is year 3,
Yeah,
so you're,
yeah.
you.
I would have to. I think we have a rough number
Mm-hmm.
based on what we did the first year, but I'd have to look back at those numbers.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think using the historical kind of ratios are comparable to what we're growing
Right.
based on the density that we're planting. So I think it would be safe to say that we could use some of the other folks that are growing it in Washington or Oregon, the same kind of mass that they're getting. But
Are you
it's hard to say.
Ohio's only flax farmer?
I think on the largest scale. This year we broke up the project into community growing. So there's about 12 people in the Rust Belt fiber shed. So that's includes Pittsburgh as well as like mid Ohio to northeast Ohio. And so we have about 12 folks like growing it on small patches.
Right.
But definitely this is the largest, I think, in Ohio. I don't know for sure. I know there's other universities that have tried here and there, but I would say
You're it.
Yeah, probably.
So
but I mean, I think on like a commercial scale, and I don't know if I would consider this commercial scale, like we're one of the handful of folks growing it in the United States for sure.
So are the other fiber shed people growing the same cultivar here in the Great Lakes?
Yeah, but they're growing on like garden-sized plots, most of them, just to test it out and save the seed so that we can get like a diversity of seed from different microclimates and hopefully create a seed crop that's resilient here, because this seed's coming from Oregon and it was amazing and it worked out, but we want to create our own seed bank here.
So is this the first year you've grown this Oregon cultivar?
Yes. Previously we had to get it from Holland because that's like the only commercial seed, not the only commercial seed producer, but there was no commercial seed producer in the United States. So everyone was buying it from Holland. Now the folks in Oregon have developed their own seed, working with Oregon State, and they were able to start selling it this year. So we were able to buy from them, and it worked out amazing. It's great.
And so how would you describe your terroir, your climate, soil, growing conditions?
Snow belt. This is even more of a microclimate than it is in Cleveland. So it's usually about 10 degrees cooler here
Whoa.
than it is in the city. Yeah, on it, generally.
Yeah.
So we get frost way earlier and way sooner, or we get
later.
Later and sooner than even in the city. The soil is very much clay here.
Yes.
It does not have good drainage. So it's kind of surprising because flax generally likes better drainage and it doesn't like to have wet feet for very long. So,
shares that with hemp and cannabis.
Yeah, so luckily we're able to grow it regardless of this kind of being
right.
a poorly dripped. But in the flip side, it holds the moisture, so
right.
That's why I don't have to irrigate.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of it gets very humid and we don't get really bad winds though, but the flax is really great because it's really buoyant, it bends really well. So I know some folks had some problems with it kind of flattening in big windstorms.
Or hail.
Yeah, but it pops right back up. So it's pretty resilient. And again, for being such a short root, it's kind of crazy that it does so well.
Well.
But you can see, and I can show you too, that this is the fiber inside, so you can see how fibrous it is.
Yeah.
But here, yeah.
Wild.
Yep.
Well, thanks. What a pleasure.
Making our own clothes, we're trying to.
Yeah.
Or paper. So.
Well,
yeah.
I've seen 2 examples of flax growing on this trip in Ohio. You and Morgan Conservatory, they have a little patch just 'cause.
Yeah.
But now I know where linen comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's a nice crop because we obviously have a lot of wool producers in this area, alpaca and sheep and goats, and but that's good for the winter months. But we thought it'd be great to have something that's great for summer months, because we still get really hot summers here. So that's kind of one way that we've thought about marketing it, if we get to the point where we have more fiber to sell, is for producers to create a really nice summer garment.
Right.
So, yeah.
And what about fiber shed?
Fiber shed, yeah.
Yeah, so most people aren't familiar with the fiber shed community.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
It's a national organization that has regional subgroups all over the country, and they're interested in creating regional systems around local fiber, and that can mean a lot of things, and that can encompass a lot of different makers and producers, but it's basically trying to organize folks that are interested in dyeing or growing fiber,
Right.
And so that we aren't so reliant on fast fashion and imported fashion
And king cotton.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not so much plastic,
Right.
fabric. People don't, it's helping educate people just in the same way that like the local food movement has, or for me, growing flowers and educating people about some of the dangers of mass production and fast anything. So it allows people to understand where their clothing comes from, and how that clothing can actually help reverse a lot of the damage that we've caused to our climate, by growing large swaths of fiber crop that are sequestering carbon and helping build the soil back up and creating habitat for pollinators and other organisms. So it's twofold. It's not just growing something that we can use, but it's also, that's one of the reasons why I continue to grow it, is because it provides like more life to the soil, helps draw down carbon.
So which came first, your activities as a flax farmer or your involvement with fiber shed?
Involvement with fiber shed, yeah. We met and we were both interested in like the systems around that I'm describing, and they were coming at it from a fiber lens, and I was coming at it from a farmer, and I was growing flowers at the time. So we really just had very similar interests, but just totally different sectors. And so that was really fascinating to me, because I wasn't really familiar with that, or didn't know like how damaging our current kind of clothing system, textile system is. So it was a natural fit for me to be interested in it. And they were trying to find a place where they could grow flax, and I was like, well, let's do it. It could be me. And it was really community oriented, that we're just helping educate people in the process, and getting people to come out and get closer to the land, and understand these circular systems. So that was really intriguing to me too, to be able to highlight the farm and also get to know people. And I've been able to develop a really great community because of that, because there's so many talented, interested folks that want to help build these systems. They just don't know exactly how, and to make people feel empowered that they can be a part of that has been really cool to see. So we're not making millions off of it yet, but I do feel like we've made a huge impact on how people think about this, and everyone that we've talked to about it is just super jazzed and like wants to know more, and they're so interested. So I know we've talked about this before, but it definitely seems like it's the burgeoning of like a new like interest for people, and that there's a lot of energy around it. It's just like I'm waiting for the needle to drop, hopefully, and we can be a part of it and know when. I mean, it's also out of survival too. Like I wanted to empower myself and the community to know how you could grow your own clothes. Say our global supply chains fall through. So if I need to grow my own linen, it might take me a couple years to make my own clothes, but at least I know how. So that kind of makes me feel a little bit more secure when things feel like they're falling apart sometimes. So yeah, that's my spiel.
And you're sticking to it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully it's interesting.